What's up guys, Coop here, and today I'm going to be showing you guys another build video. Today we're going to be looking at a build I like to call the Bezerker. So, not to be confused with the Dual Zerker, this is actually a Bezerker who utilizes the one and only two-handed weapon. So, very nice build overall. It's one of my favorites. It does a ridiculous amount of damage and it has a good amount of survival. Now this one is not utilizing mainly damage but also survivability, so this is a very good one to have, especially if you're doing a single player or a lone wolf campaign. So let's actually dive in and look at the stats here. So the first thing that we need to look at is attributes. What is sort of the priority that you're going to do? Well, what you're going to be doing is you're going to max out pretty much your strength until you can't put any more points into that. Strength is sort of your bread and butter. It not only powers up your strength based attacks, but it also powers up your weapon, and in addition to that, helps you out with carrying weight. This is very nice because your character can be sort of a pack mule, and you can move a lot of these heavier objects that you normally wouldn't be able to move, and also just increases your damage overall. Once you do that, you're going to be putting no points into finesse, intelligence, or constitution. Now you're probably wondering why not constitution. We'll get into that. There's actually a really good reason why we don't do that. And then you're going to put 1 point into probably memory, maybe 2. Keep in mind this is a lone wolf character, so the stats will be definitely different depending on where you're at in the game, but lone wolf is definitely one of the best ways to kind of show and utilize a build at its full potential without having to go through the entire game. So one of the things that's important though is at least having some memory, just so you can do different spells and abilities without having to worry too much about not having enough spells. It's nice to have a very big toolkit, but not too big to where it's weak. So it's important to have a nice refined toolkit that's not too vast, but just enough. So having a nice 12 points in memory is very helpful for that. The rest of the points you're going to be doing is in wits. Basically, you're going to be trying to increase your crit chance and initiative. It's very nice to start off right off at the bat, and it's also nice to make sure that every single one of your heavy duty attacks lands and hits hard. So having that crit chance is very helpful there. Next, we're going to be looking at abilities. Basically, you're going to be maxing out warfare again until it's at the point where it can't max out anymore, so as you can see there. And then next, we're going to be putting 2 points in the polymorph. This is very important that you have 2 points in the polymorph because it has access to a lot of great spells that help out, such as one of the only strength CCs, Chicken Claw. It has also spread your wings, which you can fly and get across the map really fast. In addition to that, you have Medusa's Head and all these other ones like Tentacle Lash, which just do massive amounts of damage and also helps out with sort of diversifying your toolkit based off of a fight. So having at least 2 points is nice, and also you get 2 attribute points, which you can put more into strength or whatever stat you really need at that time. Next, we're going to be putting a few points into Necromancy. You don't have to put too much. I only put like 3. And the reason that you're doing that is it adds a survivability element to you. So you're doing these massive amounts of damage, and in return you're getting a nice amount of healing without having to worry about that. Especially if you're an undead based character, you have to a lot of times worry, like, you don't have many ways of healing yourself besides poison. And you can try to utilize poison, but that a lot of times kind of messes up your toolkit, and then you have to be pretty much good at a lot of different things. So it's important to have that because you can actually heal yourself based off of your strength based attacks and spells. So that's also very nice. So, and then honestly, after you put a few points into these, you can move on to just dumping everything you have into your two-hand, which increases your damage again, doing massive amounts of damage, and increases your crit multiplier. Not to be confused with crit chance. Crit multiplier is the amount of times your attack it is. So you probably have like 100% crit, so it just does 100% of what your damage would be. Or if you had 200% crit, it does, or crit multiplier, it does 200% of your damage. So this is basically how big of a crit it would be, not your crit chance. It's very confusing, I know, but just bear with me. It'll make more sense as time goes on. And then, obviously, you don't want to put anything else into anything, but this is pretty much what you want to do. So, as time goes on, if you're feeling like you're not surviving well enough, just put a point into Necromancy. It's 10% difference of damage. So, if you feel like your heals are lacking a little bit, just put 1 point in there, and just continue on. As for civil-based abilities, you can do whatever the hell you want. Lore Master is obviously good if you get like loot, but Persuasion is a very nice one if this is sort of your main character in your single player campaign. But I always like Thievery just because it allows me to get spells and things that I need really, really fast, because there's multiple different ways of getting benders. Now let's actually dive into talents, because that's sort of the bread and butter of this. I went with Lone Wolf. You don't always have to go with Lone Wolf. Lone Wolf is just a very nice way of doing builds, so keep in mind, I always suggest Lone Wolf because it makes campaigns very easy and allows you to do the builds without you getting, wrecked or having to worry about constantly getting resurrection scrolls. But it is one of the ways that you can do that. You don't have to choose Lone Wolf though. Just a nice little note. The main thing also you want to get is Opportunist. You're doing massive amounts of damage, and if an enemy runs past you, that's an opportunity to heal. So it does damage and it heals you. That's very nice to have. Opportunist just does a lot of different little things. Now obviously you can get rid of Opportunist and do a lot of stuff better on your turns, but I find Opportunist very nice because it gives you access to a heal and damage at the same bonus of you not even doing anything. So that's also amazing to have. Now, Picture of Life is a must. Now the reason for that is we're maxing out Warfare. We're getting Warfare to the point where it's at the max. It has the maximum amount of points into it, so this trait shines really well with that. So you're getting 30% extra life. So that is the reason why we haven't been putting points into Constitution, because we're getting a bunch of life without having to put points into it and increasing our crit and strength in the meantime. So the reason we're doing that is we're getting all this extra life, and then we're also healing for all that extra damage that we have. So it makes up for the lack of life that we would normally have. Now, obviously, this is a middle-leveled character. There's a lot of other talents that we can look at, and I'm going to show you guys as we go on. So we have All Skilled Up. That one's very nice if you want to add an extra point into sort of Necromancy or Two-Hand. However, there is better ones out there. Ambidextrous wouldn't help. None of these would honestly help that much. You could get bigger and better and put more points into Strength or something if you just really want to max it out faster. It's not really suggested. Comeback Kid is an actually good one. A lot of people get really confused by this one. They're just like, well, why not just get the one that is like Morning Person, where it resurrects you back to full life? That's good, but you have to spend a whole 3 points resurrecting that character, then bringing them back. And yes, they're at full life, but Comeback Kid keeps your line in sort of your turn, so that's very important to have. And it gives you 20% life, and you're still back in the fight. That's very important to have. It's not one of the best ones. I don't always say, hey, go out of your way to get it, but it's a nice one overall. None of these other ones really help out. Executioner is super great. That is probably going to be the next point I put on this character, because you are going to be getting killing blows, and what's nice about that is you kill them, and then you get an extra 2 points. So you can do things like a Bull Rush or a Whirlwind or something like that. Very nice to have overall. Other ones you got are Hothead. Because you're going to be healing and doing so much damage, and you're also working on your crit, Hothead's not a bad one to have. I kid you not, you are going to be at full life a lot of the time, so I would definitely try to get Executioner and Hothead next. And then also, you got Leech, which, meh. Leech, here's the thing about Leech. Everybody says Leech is very good early game, but it's not so good mid game. When you start getting to Act 2, Act 3, it starts getting a little rocky, and it doesn't scale as well as it could. It's very helpful for undead characters, but not too helpful. Unless you're making a very bloody build, it's not really that much needed. Living Armor is also a very good one. This one is also just a nice one in general, because your healing effects also have a chance to give you magical armor, so that is nice as well. The rest of these don't really help out that much. They're nice, but none of them actually help you out. So just keep in mind, Opportunist, Picture of Life, Executioner are super good ones. 100% you have to get those, and that's what makes it really nice. With an auxiliary of Hothead and Living Armor. So let's actually dive into the good stuff, the combat. Alright, so I'm going to show you guys a little bit of a lighter fight here. This is just a nice little steel cage between 2 level 8 characters. We'll just utilize our spells here, and then I'll show you a full walkthrough of everything and sort of the mindset you would have in an actual big combat situation. But utilizing the spells, I'll show you the first ones that we have here. We have Crippling Blow, which I like Crippling Blow because it does not only a large amount of damage, but also cripples them. Crippling is a sort of status effect that keeps them in place to where they can't move, and because of that, you can kind of walk away or keep your other characters away from them in sort of their melee range to where they can't hurt them. This also sort of scales with strength, and it's a very nice hitting ability. The next one is Tentacle Lash. This is why you put your points into Polymorph. This one deals a good amount of damage, like a massive amount of physical damage, and it adds the trait Atrophy to them. Atrophy removes their melee weapon, making them to where they're just hitting you with their fists. Now keep in mind these are all both resisted by physical armor, so we need to make sure that we break that physical armor, but that'll be really easy. Next is All In, which is just a bigger attack. I don't like All In, honestly, because it uses 3. It's a nice kind of a big hit, but honestly it's one of the weaker ones out there. I could spend 2 points on melee attacking them instead, or I could spend 1 point attacking them and then bouncing to another character with Spread Your Wings. It's a lot of points just for 18, 20 damage extra. I mean, if you look at other spells like this, they already hit like around the 200s and everything. This, yes, the margin is a little lower, but for the amount that 1 action point puts in, it's not that good. So honestly, you could just take it off your bars if you wanted. Next is Whirlwind. Whirlwind is a very nice attack. It hits multiple targets and is also based off of your strength and base attack. So, very nice to have indeed. Now the next one is Battle Stomp. This is a nice little cone based ability where you can just nicely target a few creatures at the same time. It is one of your few AoE abilities along with Whirlwind, and it has a nice effect of being able to knock them down. Now keep in mind, it's based off of physical armor, so destroy their physical armor so that you can knock them down. Another one that also does knockdown is Battering Ram, which does a little bit less damage, but what it makes up for in damage allows you to travel a far distance in just the few action points it requires. So rather than having, say I'm really far away, like I am all the way out here, it allows me to travel very fast compared to somewhere that would be normally 3 or 4 action points. So that's sort of the appeal of it. Next I got Spread Your Wings. It's just a nice way of traveling across the battlefield very fast. You're going to get into the midst of combat a lot, and you're going to be sitting there like, ooh, I have to slowly walk my way over. That sucks. So having it to where it's only 1 action point to where you can just soar across and then do a few more action points and you're there across, it's very helpful. In a lot of fights, you're going to be having archers on towers and things, and you're going to need your guy to bounce around really fast to other places. You don't want to spend a whole turn moving. That's very unhealthy, and it's going to cause a nice amount of damage to happen out. Chicken Claw is another great ability because it allows you to have a crowd control ability that is resistant by physical armor. Now, sadly, the range of this ability is very slim, but you're a melee-based character, so why does it matter? The point of the matter is, in the midst of combat, you're struggling, or you need to get rid of a person that is hitting your back line. So what you can do is you can do Spread Your Wings, fly on over using the flight ability, and then use Chicken Claw and get them completely out of the fight for 2 turns. Very helpful ability because it CCs for 2 turns. That's enough time for you to adjust your party. You can have a whole turn to adjust your party, and then by the time they break out, you're ready to go. And or you can flight your way over there and fight that character after he breaks out. Now, one of the core-based abilities that you need to get is Enraged. The reason that you're going to be getting Enraged is because it allows you to 100% land a crit with a basic attack or weapon skill. However, you are muted, so you can't use spells like Chicken Claw and whatnot. This clears being Taunted, Terrified, Charmed, or Clear Mind status. Now, obviously, Clear Mind and Taunted is kind of a sad thing to get rid of, but Terrified and Charmed is very nice, so you don't have to worry about that. So you have a way of escaping that. Next is Fortify, which allows you just to have physical armor. It's very nice, and also it helps remove poison, bleed, burning, acid, and decaying effects. So it allows you to get rid of effects A lot of people will look at Fortify and they'll just be like, oh man, it's just physical armor. No, that other stuff at the end there, the removing poison and bleeding and burning, is very important. I mean, you're constantly going to be having cases where you're going to be in fire or whatnot, and burning sucks, especially if you don't have magical armor. And if you don't have magical armor, it's kind of like, oh, you're screwed. But no, you can actually get rid of the burning and whatnot with this ability. Now, next is what I like to call your combat escapes. You have good old Chameleon Cloak. This allows you to be invisible for 2 turns. Now, you can break invisibility by attacking or whatnot, so you're not just invisible the whole time, just in case if you need to help out your party and whatnot. So this is just another way of escaping combat. I also have Play Dead. Now, that's only for undead characters, but that's also a very helpful one indeed. Next is good old Time Warp. This is a very nice overpowered ability that can oftentimes break the game, but imagine it on your character with Executioner. You'll be just slaying the battlefield. So let's actually show you a little bit of that, and then we'll show you a actual hard fight to where I should be dead, but I'm not, because this build actually works really well. So first things first, let's just go in and do a nice basic attack. And let's get this other guy into the fight as well. Okay, so we got both of these guys here. And look at this. We do a Whirlwind. And boom, they're already dead. And as you can see there, I got healed for 50, 60. So all that just got straight in there. And as you can see, I took them down like they were nothing. It was super easy and pretty much a joke. So let's actually jump into some hard content. Alright, so let's actually dive into some advanced combat. This is a boss. I'm not going to give you guys the context because obviously story-wise and everything, but let's actually dive in and show you what exactly I would do in a midst of combat. So first things first, we got to make sure that we have enough room for Battering Ram. Now we can just jump right in here. Boom. Okay, next we're going to do a nice little attack here. We can choose Battle Stomp because this one will hit multiple targets, knocking down both those targets there, which is super helpful there. Now the next thing is we obviously don't want to get any damage, so what we're going to do is make ourselves invisible. So they're healing him. That's okay, he's not regaining armor, so that will work to our advantage very nicely. Now the next thing is we need to figure out more ways of getting him out of combat, so what we're going to do is we're going to turn him into a chicken. As you can see, he was a boss character, so we don't want to use the chicken-based ability on them. It's always good to prioritize your target. So right off the bat, we saw the chicken, and I was like, alright, I need to make sure that I lower him down. So we're going to do a nice little attack. Give ourselves an extra turn because I want to make sure that I hurt this guy real good, real well. Next, I want to make sure all my attacks crit, so we're going to do that. And we're going to do, bam, a nice big hit. Boom, another nice big hit. And because he's in chicken form, he might run away in the direction I'm at, and then attack of opportunity would happen, and then boom, the boss would be already dead like that. So we've got all these summons attacking us, but that's okay. We do have a spell to get back some sort of armor, so that's very nice indeed. Now the chicken might run away, which is okay because we have a way of running towards it. Okay, so he broke out of it, which is fine by me. We have a nice Whirlwind that can actually hit 4 targets, so that's super duper cool. Do that. Now the boss is still alive, but we can actually kill the boss right here, right now, like that. Boom, boss is down, and all the other things are down with it. Pretty amazing what you can do with this. As you can see there, that was a boss that was level 11 and everything else was level 11. My character is level 10 and not even really a geared one. So it just goes to show how powerful this build can be. I hope you guys do enjoy this. This is one of my favorite builds, and I know a lot of you guys have been waiting for it, and I've been promising and promising and promising, but I really wanted to do my research on this one and show you guys just how good this build is. This is a boss fight, and I just soloed it like it was nothing. In general, though, there was not many multiple retakes or whatnot. This is just a single nice go through. Necromancy is definitely a helpful skill to utilize. If it does get a little tough, that's okay. Not every situation works out in your favor. The RNG does change from combat to combat. Sometimes you get really screwed, and sometimes you really don't. So Necromancy is a nice way of kind of closing that gap and making sure that you have survivability. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoy. I do have another build video. This one's going to be an archer, so that one should be very fun for you guys to look at. I know I've been spreading out a lot of different videos, and I hope you guys do enjoy. Comment down below what you guys think, and be sure to subscribe. I know a lot of you guys do watch, and I'm trying to get up to 800 subscribers by the end of this year. That's sort of my goal. That would be a wonderful Christmas present for me to get up to 800. And anyways, I thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys next time.